Greetings from World War II Memorial in Culpeper. As we observe this Memorial Day, it's important for us to remember exactly why we are recognizing those on this particular day. Let's keep in mind that Memorial Day is for those who have given their lives in service to their country. And obviously a bit later this year we'll be recognizing Veterans Day. But on this day, we take the time, apart from everything else that we're doing, to express our appreciation and our heartfelt gratitude to those who gave their life in service to their country. This is a very appropriate place for us to have this particular part of the celebration, because in just a moment I'll step aside and you can see the names of 49 men from Culpeper County who gave their lives in service during World War II. You'll also see 3 names of those who gave their life in the Korean War. What is interesting is there are 5 names that are not on this list, but who have memorial stones on the side of the walkway coming in. Some of you know the story of the 5 out of the 6 Lee boys who was serving during that particular time. Ed, Fitzhugh, Briscoe, Robert, and David. And that was a testimony to the commitment and the sacrifice that many would make during that particular time. Now I want you to see this memorial and the names of those that are recorded here, the 49 that gave their life in World War II, plus the 3 who gave their life in Korean War. As you walk around this memorial, you'll also see the names of families or individuals from families in Culpeper County whose names are very familiar even today. Rawson, Trolio, and a number of others. So as you have opportunity, by all means come and visit this memorial. But for now, I just want to say in the last few weeks, a couple months to be exact, we've heard a lot of talk about heroes. And I gather what they're saying is these people have risked their lives to save other lives. And if you really want to talk about heroes, you'll never find a greater example than the names of those who are written on this memorial, as well as others around the country, wherever they may be. And it's interesting to think about the names that are listed here, even those we know. For the most part, they were young men who grew up working on the farm, working in the factories, doing what they knew to do. And all of a sudden, the call came, and something within them compelled them to answer that call. And so they left home. You say, well, that's really no big deal. Oh, but it was a very big deal, because it is safe to say that at that particular time, transportation wasn't what it is today. And so to go anywhere required quite a bit of effort. And the means of transportation or even the destination. But for these men who probably, in many cases, never travel more than 50 miles from home, all of a sudden they find themselves leaving their family, going across the ocean to a part of the world they had never seen and may not even have known existed. And as they went, they left behind a mother, a father, a wife, perhaps even children, but nonetheless, the commitment was that strong and they felt that sense of duty. You have to wonder, as they fought on those battlefields, what depth of fear they must have felt. Keep in mind that we look on TV now and we see plays and even stories about wars and battles and whatnot. And it's interesting because personally, when I watch something like that, I just have to catch myself and get a grip on my emotions simply by telling myself, this is just a movie. It's just a movie. Well, what they were doing and what they were experiencing was not just a movie. They were there. And what kind of fear must have gripped their hearts? We realized that there were bombs blasting around them when they were in the line of machine gun fire and whatever else there may have been. Keep in mind that they didn't have the sophisticated weapons that our military does today. And all they knew was to go hand to hand in combat and go at the enemy, and by the grace of God, pray that you would overcome them. What is it that motivates a person to do something like that? I can tell you what I believe it is, plain and simple, their love of their country, their love for America. And the scripture says in John chapter 15 and verse 13, no greater love hath any man than a man lay down his life for his neighbor. And what these people did, the names that are carved in the stone, gave proof that there is no greater love than a man who would lay down his life for his friend or even his enemy. Because when they gave their life, they were not partial. They gave their life for everyone. Keep in mind that these were men who just loved their country. I can guarantee there was not one name listed on this wall or in these stones of anyone who would have stood in their school class at that time and refused to pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. If somebody doesn't care enough to pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, do you really believe they're going out and fight for their country, and even more specifically, to die for their country? Not hardly. And so these young men went home, went away from home, and many of them did not return, at least not alive. I was very young at the end of that time, but I still remember them talking about the people from our area who gave their lives, and the celebrations that took place when the war was ended was something that had to be a thrill for those who survived. But for the many thousands who did not survive, it had to be heartbreaking. It just had to be crushing for the families to know they would not spend another day on earth with their loved ones. But whether or not we knew any of these men and women personally, each and every one of us today benefits from the sacrifice they gave, because we live in a country where we work and worship in the place of our choice. You have heard it said, freedom is not free. It costs something to achieve it, and it costs something to retain it. And maybe there was a time when we got a little bit careless about our freedom. But I tell you what brought us back to reality was 9/11. And from that point forward, I can tell you when I am asked to officiate at the service of someone whose casket is draped with a flag, the very first thing I will ever point out is that this person served their country. And make no mistake about it, we owe them a debt of gratitude, a debt that can never be paid, because each and every day we live and work and worship in a place of freedom that came with a price that they did not consider too great. No greater love hath any man than the man who laid down his life for his friend. The names who are here on this memorial, the names who are on the memorial at Bedford, the names who are on the stones at Arlington Cemetery, and even Culpeper Cemetery and other places around the world, those names are names of courage. They are names of pride, but they're names of love. Courage, pride, and love for their family. And they did not consider any sacrifice too great. And so on this Memorial Day, we take the time to say to those who gave their all for all of us, we thank you, we appreciate you, and you will never, ever be forgotten. God bless you, and God bless your families. Amen.